our most important, our speaker, Ovide Lamontagne. Thank you very much for coming to Belknap. I appreciate it. And I have been in contact with this gentleman in the past for his campaigning. And the only problem I have is the women all love him. I have all I can do to keep my wife from pestering.
I came here because I wanted to say congratulations to the Norris Cotton Award winner for 2010. And he's got the best float in the business. You know, any presidential candidate worth his salt is going to try to recruit you and your family to be with him.
Yeah, the float is undercover and protected.
Good. That's good to know.
It's ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Ovide Lamontagne.
Well, welcome. It's great to be here, and thank you very much for coming this evening. And again, I want to thank you very much for the good work you did last year. This past election cycle, 2010, was fantastic, was it not? For conservatives and Republicans in the state of New Hampshire. You deserve a round of applause for the good work you did here in Belknap County, that's for sure. We had some great candidates, had some good turnout. And you know what I thought was most surprising out of this particular election cycle? There was great unity after a very contested primary. We had a lot of great candidates who ran. Some of us came just short of winning, but in the end we all gathered around and supported the ticket. And that's the only way we can hope to win going forward. Because this is not just, this 2010 election experience is just not a one-time experience. We have to have a generational transformation. The great American Reformation started in 2010, but it's got to continue through 2012 and beyond. And we're only going to do that if we stick together on core values, core principles. And so what I think was really remarkable in 2010 is how we did that. And you know, people have called me from you know, the national media because of the presidential primary, and they've said, you know, there's a lot of factions in the party, and what about the Tea Party, the 9/12, and is there any energy left? I said, first of all, there is a lot of energy right now among the grassroots activists, because we're hungry for this presidential primary to take off, are we not? Yes. We are. We're ready for the candidates to come and declare themselves and to tell us why they're the most conservative candidate who can win. I think that's the test this time. This election cycle for the presidency is so important if we're going to continue to try to reclaim our rightful role as the citizens who are in charge, who are sovereign in this country, with a government that lives within the four corners of the Constitution and understands the Constitution is a limiting document, not a living document, subject to whatever interpretations a judiciary might have or even elected officials. And so if we want to continue that direction, we need to make sure that the next president of the United States is not Barack Obama. Amen. Right? That's right. And the way we're going to achieve that is to make sure that we can rally around the candidate who can build a coalition based on conservative principles, consistent with the Republican Party platform, but who can win. You know, I've been around, like you all have, participating in the New Hampshire primary for a long time now. And there have been times when we've voted for candidates to send a message. To send a message to the establishment, we don't like the direction you're going in Washington. We don't like the things you're talking about. We're not going to be voting this time to send a message other than to say to the people of this country, New Hampshire endorses this candidate, whoever that person is, he or she, as the most likely conservative who can win in November of 2012. That has got to be our message. And so the work starts now, really, to make sure that we get to know these candidates. Now, since the primary of 2010, I formed what I've called the Granite Oath PAC. It's the GraniteOathPAC.com is our website. And it's an effort to try to raise some dollars to promote conservative principles and also to invite the candidates to come to a reception in our home. Tomorrow evening, we're pleased to have Governor and Mrs. Pawlenty come and join us. If you haven't signed up for our website, please do that. That way you can get the invitations to come to see the other candidates. Hopefully we'll have other candidates come to visit us. When Rick Santorum came in January 11th of 2 months ago, it was right after the holidays. again, some of the national media called and said, is there really anybody interested in coming? I said, are you kidding? We had over 200 RSVPs. We had to shut it down because we were oversubscribed. And the same energy is there for tomorrow night. We have over 175 hard RSVPs, and we've had to turn some people away already. And I feel very good about this opportunity to meet the Polanys with other friends and supporters and activists. And I think that you all are ready to meet them too, in your places of business, places of worship, maybe after services, of course, in the cities and towns of our state, to know what these people stand for and what they want to do for America. So I say, let's bring on the presidential primary right now, and let's get going, because New Hampshire's the place that's going to be the most important proving ground. You know, Iowans are wonderful people, but they know how to pick corn. We know how to pick presidents. We're going to pick this next president, and we are working together. The other thing I wanted to say to you in terms of a message is this, is that we are where we are in this country and in this state because we as citizens have been negligent about holding our elected officials' feet to the fire. We have been fat and happy, enjoying the benefits of the greatest generation and the generations that came before us. And we've allowed government to get out of control. And what 2010 was about is the people reclaiming their rightful role over government, at least starting to. And so our work now has to be twofold. One is to make sure that our elected officials do what they said they were going to do. Cutting is a big part of it. Reining in government. Making sure government's doing what it's supposed to be constitutionally charged with doing. But the other side of the coin is to support our elected officials who are doing the work we sent them to do. We are seeing in Wisconsin, Ohio, and we're going to see here in New Hampshire, a lot of unrest by the entitled class, the vested interests, the people who live off of government. You and I know that we should not be living off of government. We have faith in people and each other. The liberals have faith in government and government power. So our job is to support the people who are willing to affect the changes that need to happen right now in New Hampshire and in Washington. And we need to make sure the issues are brought forward to a vote, up or down. Washington today, the Senate rejected the House budget cut for this particular session. I think the House should come back and resubmit another budget cut and keep forcing that issue. But we need to support the elected officials who are voting with us here. The same thing in New Hampshire. And so they need to hear from us. There are a lot of them, I know. But you all know a handful, some of them are here. We need to continue to encourage our elected officials to do what they are charged with doing. And then we need to continue to invite people to our cause. You know, next year at this time, maybe before this time actually, we will have that New Hampshire primary. This is a great time to bring people to the party. Now I'll tell you, I am a conservative first and a Republican second. I'm not embarrassed to say that. That's where I am. I'm a conservative because I believe in the conservative values of freedom and liberty, personal responsibility. Like you all, I don't think government's the solution. It is the problem that we're facing. But I'm a Republican because my conservative values are expressed in our platform. And I would certainly encourage you, sorry, mine's getting tattered, to make copies, hard copies of the platform available at your meetings. And let people who are not really participating yet know what we stand for. Because our party, our cause is going to succeed first on ideas and principle. Secondly on people, and third on organization. And this year gives us a great opportunity because there's no action in the presidential primary on the Democrat side, at least so far as we know. Right? The energy is going to be on the Republican side. So independents are going to want to vote in our primary, our Republican primary. Let's say to them, listen, you want to take a Republican ballot? Stay Republican. Stay with us. Work with us. Because we have a lot more in common than you have with this president and the liberals and the progressives in the Democrat Party. So this is a time to really recruit and increase our numbers. To get people of like mind to be with us. And let's attract them to us. We're not angry people. We're hopeful people. We're optimistic people. And what president in the last since World War II gave us that optimism? Ronald Reagan, a conservative. He made us believe in ourselves again. And he empowered us by his strength of character, by the courage of his convictions. And we need that kind of leadership now again. And you all are leaders in your own right. Opinion leaders, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And people are looking to you because they know you're active. Bring them to us. Invite them. Governor Sununu used to say, talk, talk, talk. Well, the Lamontagne corollary, the Ovide corollary to the Sununu doctrine of talk, talk, talk is invite, invite, invite. Because they should be with us. And particularly the newcomers. You know, there was a little bit of tension in the last election cycle, wasn't there? We had these 9/12 folks and the Tea Party people and new people coming to our meetings. We said, who are these folks? And we're grateful they were part of us, aren't we? Let's make sure they feel included. And to the newcomers, I say, let's not throw out the good with the bad. There's some fine, loyal, long-time servants in the Republican Party who deserve to continue to have leadership positions and work with us. So let's create that synergy. Let's continue to invite people to our cause. And make sure we let them know what we stand for in this party platform. You know, when you just review the preamble of the party, and now that I'm on the other side of 50, if you'll excuse me, I'll use my glasses. Welcome to our world. Yep. We, New Hampshire Republicans, are united by our belief in God. The God word in here. Individual liberty, personal responsibility, limited government, limited spending, limited taxes, economic opportunity, homeland security, compassion for the truly needy, and our confidence in the strength of families, places of worship, communities, and volunteerism. I can guarantee you, you will not read those words, at least not in this order, in the Democratic platform. We start off with a preamble that has faith in people and private institutions. And we build our system on the backs of the hardworking people of this country. But we draw strength from people. The other thing to remember, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. Ash Wednesday is a good day to be preaching to the choir. But you know, we need to continue to remind ourselves how we're structured. Because our country, it's counterintuitive. Historically, people have looked at the government, beginning with the king, as the omnipotent. Right? The omnipotent, the person who gives all power to people. And a lot of countries thought the king was the deity almost, or was empowered by God, and everybody was in his kingdom, or her kingdom, she's the queen. The American Revolution turned that model on its head. It's the people who are the king. We are endowed by our Creator with the unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And government only has those powers that we, through our consent, delegate to it. We create government and we give it power. Let's never forget that. I said last night over in Barnstead, we need to be about the work of breaking the paradigm of the king of the dump. The king of the dump, you know what I'm talking about. And the king of the dump, you might find that person in the motor vehicle office or in the town hall. The king of the dump is the person who's a public employee who thinks you work for them. Well, we don't work for them. They work for us. The king of the dump is the person who tells you how, where, and when you can dump your trash. Lords over you when you enter his kingdom of the dump. Well, excuse me, you should be the servant of the dump. Help me to get rid of my trash. Help me to get whatever services I need. Don't lord over me. And you know what we're seeing in Wisconsin and other states? People are starting to ask themselves the question, why is it that public employees have gotten into this position of feeling entitled? Like they have a lifetime tenure that's been promised with their job. Like they're immune from the salary or benefits reductions that the rest of us in the private sector are subject to because of economic downturns. Why is it the public employees who are governed by a civil service system, who have government employers, feel the need to have a union or union bosses step in between them and the people who have hired them and you and me? We need to ask those tough questions to change the paradigm. So we have a government that's about service, about leadership in a mode of servant leadership. And you and I can ask for that, and we have to ask for that. And I think the message has been heard. Thomas Jefferson, I believe, said, when the people fear government, there's tyranny. When government fears the people, there's liberty. Let there be liberty here in New Hampshire and across this country, and let's keep working on that. Right? So, the last thing I want to say is we need to make sure we do not let our guard down. Continue to do what you're doing, not only by meeting here, but contacting your elected representatives, sending letters to the editor, participating in the community, in the town square, so that people understand what we stand for. Let's not forget, let's not rest, because there's a lot of work to be done between now and the presidential primary. There's a lot of educating to do. And this revolution we're currently under, this reformation, the Great American Reformation, needs us now, next year, and the year after. And if there's anything that you want to think about in terms of how important this presidential election is this. I don't agree with Hillary Clinton about much, but I do agree with her about this one. When it comes to foreign policy, the person who answers the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning when there's a crisis should not be Barack Obama. He is not ready for that job. He does not have the leadership abilities that we need for this country and this world. There's a lot of risk right now, and the burden is ours to make sure we manage that risk. So thank you very much for being here. God bless you for what you do. God bless America and the great state of New Hampshire.